Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode. I'm back in my dorm room. It's great. We're gonna have a good show for you guys today. We have a spotlight on one of my favorite bands, Rush. I'm gonna talk to you guys about them for a little bit. I have a gear review of a really dirt cheap wireless guitar system that I think you guys are gonna be really interested in. And we have part two, the long-awaited part two of the stories of my guitars. So without further ado, we're gonna jump right into the episode as soon as we give a quick thank you to all of my patrons. We have Tristan, Sandy, Grace, Morgan, and Julie. Thank you guys all so very, very much for your contribution to the show. And without further ado, let us get on with it. Okay, so getting right into it, we're gonna start with that band you see on the wall right there. That is Rush, and they have been around for a while. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head here and gushing a little bit because they're a great band. So, off the top of my head, they started, I want to say, in the mid 1970s, or like probably 1970 roughly. Their first album, I believe, just self-titled Rush, came out early 70s, and then in 1970, another early 70s, I think probably a year later maybe, something like that, they released Fly By Night, which if people probably recognize. Fly By Night is one of my favorite Rush songs. Then after Fly By Night, they hit probably my favorite Rush album, I think, of all time, has to be 2112, which was released in 1975. And I'll put up pictures of all of these as I go, but Rush is just an incredible band because they were one band that really married art and success, and that doesn't always happen, especially not nowadays, because they were a band that truly took something that they wanted to do and that they loved to do, and the message that they wanted to send and get across. And what was really amazing is that they didn't sacrifice any musicianship, that's the word I'm looking for. They didn't sacrifice musicianship to create wonderful music and, just to be successful. They played exactly what they wanted to play. They created what they wanted to create, and they managed to go on world tours. They sold millions of albums. Just awesome. Truly great band. I'd have to say probably my favorite song by them is they have this big Space Odyssey type, story, 2112 by Rush. It's separated into movements, and it's on the album 2112. It is separated into Overture, Temples of Syrinx, Discovery, Presentation, Oracle. It's got all these movements, and it talks about this story of a future, after our humanity, as we live now, we have left the earth, or we've died out, seemingly. So then it's this big, it's just it's 20 minutes long, but you need to give it a listen. It's like a movie, in musical form. And that is not something that you can just easily go put on an album. I mean, that's a 20-minute song on an album that has, I think, I want to say 5 songs because of that. But then also on that album is Passage to Bangkok, which is another really, really great Rush tune. And another one on there as well that I've recently discovered is called Lessons, and I really, really like that. It's very kind of bouncy and playful and really, really good tune. I'd like to keep a counter of how many times I've said really, really. Someone leave it in the comments how many times I've said that word in this video. But then they have, way later too, they have, Tom Sawyer, they have Red Barchetta, they have YYZ, they have Spirit of Radio, Free Will, Subdivisions, all these awesome songs that are just popular and great, but they're also telling a very important message. And the last one I'll touch on, because I do want to keep this short, is Spirit of Radio is probably my second favorite Rush song, because it discusses how, though we're advancing in technology, we don't have to sacrifice human musicianship in the production of music. Because that's kind of what's happening, is we're cutting corners, because it's we have all this technology, so we can auto-tune our voices if we make mistakes. We can time align drums to make sure they're just perfect if we screwed up, all that stuff. So the thing is that we have all these shortcuts that we can take, and that song is all about the spirit of music, and how how it should be handled versus how it can be handled. It's a really, really great song, and it's very inspiring as far as trying to play, you know, actually have people who play the music be on the record, not time-aligned versions or pitch-corrected versions or whatever. Nothing, you know, spliced together and all that. It's a very inspiring message, and it's just amongst many of Rush's amazing stuff. Neil Peart was probably the greatest drummer who ever lived, and also he wrote almost all the lyrics for all the Rush songs as well. Xanadu is another great tune. Like, I just check out Rush. Look at their whole catalog. It's incredible. It's a journey, and it is definitely. I aspire to be as good a musician as any of those three in that band. Geddy Lee, main vocals, bassist, and keyboardist. Neil Peart, as we discussed, as the drummer, and then Alex Lifeson as the guitar player. Just incredible trio, and they're so much fun to listen to. I really, really, really do implore you guys to go listen to Rush. And that time I said really, really, really intentionally. Please go listen to Rush. They're a wonderful band. Here we are. We have our package. I'm gonna try not to show you my room number. It's a package. Here it is. This is the wireless guitar system that I bought. It was like $35, and I have no idea what to expect. But we're gonna find out if you can get a wireless guitar system for cheap that actually works and isn't horrible. So that's the idea. That's what we're trying to accomplish. This is a scientific experiment. Watch as I cut myself on camera. But this is a scientific experiment to see if in fact you can get a decent wireless guitar system for under $50. So here it is. This is the Guitaria GWS-8 wireless guitar system. So first impressions. The box is not all the way closed, and it won't actually sit all the way closed. I don't know if you guys can see that. The box like won't shut all the way. So we're gonna remove it. Okay, so we have an instruction, a little user manual. We have, oh, it's just one of the things was shifted out of its little pouch. So this is what you get on the inside. It's the transmitter, the receiver, and a little cable to charge them, I suppose. And a little guitar pick that's way too thin for me to want to use. But that is my preference. So let's remove these. So here are the wireless guitar system, transmitter and receiver. They charge, it looks like, with like the standard like phone USB. They have little rotating thingies, so they can fit kind of multiple spaces. There's a button to pair them together, and then there's just a slider for the power. It looks like they're on with each other. Here we go. You just click the buttons. Okay, it looks like they're paired. So yeah, I guess from there you would just plug the receiver into the end of your pedal board or into your amp, and then the transmitter into your guitar. So I guess let's give it a shot and see how far you can go and how good the sound quality is. Okay, so after doing the distance test, I don't have an actual thing to measure, so I can't quite gauge in a straight line. I also don't have the space to gauge it in a straight line. So I have it currently plugged into my pedal board, as I'll actually just grab the camera and show you guys. So right down here, I have it plugged in right here on the floor to my pedals, which are then going over to the Spark and then into my computer, etc. And I'll show you guys a demo in just a second. And I was able to plug the other end into my guitar and go to a pretty extraordinary distance. I really was not expecting to be able to go as far out as I did. I made it out the door with the door shut, and I turned the corner and walked probably a good 10 feet from there. So it didn't really start cutting out until I really reached that faraway point. So that was really interesting. These were like $35 on Amazon, and you know, they're made of plastic. You know, they're not, you know, the highest quality feeling things, but I don't know how long the battery lasts, and I don't know how long the you know, I can't tell that much of a difference with signal compression or anything like that. So for the last little bit, I'm gonna do a demo. I guess I'll put in up a thing right here that shows how long the battery lasts, and then after that, I'm gonna do a test where you guys listen to the sound clean and distorted with a cable plugged in and with the wireless guitar system plugged in, and we will see which one ends up better. So yeah, let's hop right to the testing, because I'm really interested to see if these things are gonna be my new go-to when it comes to playing guitar. The latency is not, there's a very minimal amount of latency. Like, it's semi-noticeable, but it's not enough to where it's going to affect your playing. And if you prefer the function, you know, of being able to just pick up a guitar and walk around and not be tied down to a cable, then for $35, this might be one of your perfect choices. So anyway, let's get to the testing. Alright, well, the testing is done. What do you guys think? Personally, I haven't listened yet to the results, and I don't know if I'm gonna put my opinion in the video. So I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Leave it in the comments down below. Tell me what you think. Can you tell the difference between the cable and the wireless? I'd be interested to know, because I haven't looked yet. I'll be basically weighing this out when I edit the video for myself. But I want to see what you guys think. Did you like the wireless because it didn't sound any different than the cable, or did you think the cable sounded better? I'd be interested to see what you guys think, as well as see for myself. So that's the demo. That's what I'm gonna do. I don't know anything about the battery life. I don't have enough time to test that in this video. So the battery life I won't be able to weigh out in this. I'll update you guys maybe on Patreon over time to kind of get you an idea of, you know, a further in-depth of these wireless pieces. But for now, you can go a pretty decent distance. Any room is gonna be enough space for these, which is great. And on top of that, I couldn't tell a difference while I was playing in the different sounds. I'll actually have to listen and put them side by side for myself to see. But until then. Okay, and now we're on to the final segment of the show today. We're gonna go over part 2 of my guitar stories, or the stories behind each and every guitar in my collection. We did 4 last week, we have 3 more to go this week, and I did end up re-recording this part 2 so it all fits and I'm on the same set and all of that. But if you sub to my Patreon, patreon.com/RiffJaw, you can head on over there and you can see the original whole part 1 and 2 that I recorded that got uploaded for the patrons, so they got to see part 1 and 2 all at once. But I am redoing part 2 for this episode, so it all matches with the set and all of that. So with that being said, let's start on with the first guitar. So this first one, I don't have a whole lot to say about. It just holds a special place in my heart. This is the Urban. You can see it's just got Keith Urban's name on the headstock. I don't know if you can see it all that well, but basically this is a pretty basic, kind of Les Paul-ish style guitar. It's got 2 pickups and a 3-way selector, and then, you know, the Les Paul wiring for the volume and tone potentiometers. Otherwise, it's kind of a glossy finish, and it does its job. It's my first electric guitar I ever owned. It came with a bunch of CDs that didn't work, that were supposed to teach you how to play. So yeah, that didn't end up working out, but I learned other ways. But this definitely holds a special spot in my heart, and I don't think I'll ever get rid of this guitar, being that it was my first one. So this guitar here is the first guitar I ever saved up a bunch of like my own money for. This was about $500 used. This was my Ibanez RG 420, and it's got a beautiful wood burst finish. I absolutely love this guitar. It's just awesome. Really, really, really beautiful. Just volume and tone. 5-way selector, Floyd Rose bridge. It works great for like Poison and any of those, you know, Guns N' Roses, any of those. Eddie Van Halen is the big one. But just a really gorgeous instrument. I love this thing very, very much, and I still remember the day I went to go pick it out because I knew I wanted an RG. Just a gorgeous guitar. Absolutely love it. Yep, it plays like a dream. Has the Wizard 3 Ibanez neck, so it's really, really thin, and it's just, you can play really, really fast on this thing. It's wonderful. But yeah, with that being said, let us move even further back in my guitar journey. And this here is the final guitar that we're going to go over today. This is the last guitar in my collection, and it is the first guitar I ever owned. This is my uncle's guitar, and it was the first instrument with strings that I ever owned. Just sounds beautiful, it plays great. I love it. It's a Fender acoustic. I don't really know much about it because it's not mine. I mean, it's my uncle's. So I really don't know all that much about it. I just know that it's the kind of what I learned to play on. I played a lot of the like Seven Nation Army and the 1-string tunes on it. And that was kind of the start of my guitar career. But yeah, I love this guitar. It sounds great. It's a little out of tune, but this thing definitely does the job when it comes to any acoustic performance that I do. I dread the day I have to give this thing back because I really, really do love this guitar. And alright everybody, with all of that being said and done, we have reached the conclusion of yet another episode of the main RiffJaw show. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Again, I know you heard earlier in the video when I called out the names of all the lovely people who decide to support me on Patreon. If you want to be mentioned in these videos, and if you want personal thank yous and some behind the scenes content and access to things early and all that good stuff, polls on, you know, what I decide to do on the show, what segments I do on the show, all of that stuff, that is all decided and, you know, is given the option to my patrons. So if you want to be a patron for as little as $3 a month, that's my lowest tier, you can head on over to patreon.com/RiffJaw and be a part of this little family and this little community here where we're just trying to spread music, spread good times and create, you know, some good content. We got some new lights in the studio now. Things are looking a bit more professional. I'm back at the dorm, so I actually have somewhat of a set almost. It looks a little more professional than just being stuck in the corner of my living room like the last episode. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. And I will see you guys all in 2 weeks or at my next live stream. Watch out for those. Turn the notification bell on and subscribe so you don't miss anything. And I will catch you guys next time. See ya.